Do you just walk up to Mount Everest and start climbing?
No, Prabhu.
No, you have a lot of preparation to do before you initiate or begin the climb in seriousness. So there's a lot of training to do. You have to learn the techniques. You have to learn to work as a team. You have to learn to follow the instructions of your guide. You have to learn practically the the techniques of that activity. And in the same way, if we want to begin in earnest our Krishna consciousness, there's a lot of preparation to do to understand the basic principles very nicely. And then when we can do that and demonstrate that we can follow all those principles nicely, then we can initiate the climb. And it's only then, for example, take going back to Mount Everest, that working together, it's possible to actually begin the climb because it's not something we just do on our own. It's a whole teamwork, actually. And it requires also following the guidance. And our guidance is from the previous instructions. Okay. So anyway, I thought I'd just mention that because it's a very important point. And I know that some of you at least are very keen to get ready for initiation, which is really important.
Yes, Prabhu. We all are like filling the form for initiation. Yeah. And we have done our disciple course, those things done. And we are doing our, like, we'll be getting recommendation letter, service letter, all those things. So yeah, so everything is like planned. So hopefully like this year we'll be getting, like, few devotees will be getting initiation. So with the mercy
Okay.
of Lord and Guru. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Okay.
Prabhu,
Nice one.
Narayan Prabhu was here in the call, but he had an office meeting, so he had to drop. Actually, he was here like till you joined, like some time back. Only he left actually. So he had asked
Okay.
us to do the recording so that he can listen. So Sachin Prabhu is recording this call, Prabhu.
Thank you very much indeed. Hare Krishna. Okay. So who wants to start reading?
Yes, Prabhu. Radhika, you want to
Okay.
read? Yes. The cultivation of Krishna consciousness is not material. The Lord has generally three energies, namely the external energy, the internal energy, and the material energy, marginal energy. The living entities are called marginal energy, and the material cosmic fascination, manifestation is the action of the external of material energy. Then there is the spiritual world, which is a manifestation of the eternal energy. Internal energy. The living entities, who are called marginal energy, perform material activities when acting under the inferior external energy. And when the engage in Krishna activities under the internal spiritual energy, the activities are called Krishna consciousness. This means that those who are great souls or great devotees do not act under the spell of material energy, but act in devotion. Act instead under the protection of the spiritual energy. Any activities done in the devotional service in Krishna consciousness are directly under the control of spiritual energy. In other words, energy is a source of strength, and this strength can be spiritualized by the mercy of both the bona fide spiritual masters and Krishna.
Okay, very good. So there's a few points here. Anybody got any comments or questions or things you want to understand here, what we're talking about? Maybe we should explain some of the terms. What do you
Yes,
think?
Prabhu. Can you please explain this, Prabhu? Yeah, external energy, internal energy, and marginal energy, Prabhu.
Okay, would you like to explain this, Rupesh Prabhu?
So it's like external energy, internal energy, and marginal energy. So living entities are called the marginal energy. Yeah. So all the living entities are Lord's marginal energy. Yeah. And external energy and internal energy. So spiritual world is manifestation of internal energy. And external energy is the inferior energy. So Lord's so all these five elements, like the Panch Tattva and all those things, like it comes into the external energy, the inferior energy of the
The
Lord.
Panchatattva?
Yeah.
No. The Panchatattva, that's Lord Chaitanya and his associates.
No, not that Panch Tattva. I mean the five elements, actually, all the elements of the material world.
Yes, actually 5 gross and 3 subtle.
Yes, all these 8, yeah.
So when we see the material energy, which is what we're used to seeing, only we can see the earth and we can see the water and we can see we can feel the air and we can see the big sky, although actually it's very difficult to get a hold of any of these things. So earth, water, fire, air. Fire we can see, we can touch, we can feel the energy of fire and its heat and its light. So Krishna says that besides these 3 gross energies, because if you look at the energies that make up the material world, the gross energies are earth, water, fire, air, and sky. And everything that we see is actually a combination of these 5 energies. But there are also 3 subtle energies, which are our minds, because I can see that you have a mind, but I can't see your mind. And I can see that you definitely have some intelligence, but I can't see your intelligence. And I can see it's obvious by the fact of your activities that you have some intelligence. We all do. And also, when we talk about ego, generally we look at ego as being the self. So false ego means we falsely identify ourselves as being material, matter, this body, mind, and like that, and senses. But Krishna says that these 8 together, these are my separated inferior energies, the material energies. So these 8 substances make up the material world. But then he says, Aparayam mitastvanyam prakritim vidhi me param jiva bhuta mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat. Besides this inferior energy of mine, there is a superior energy, which are the living entities. So the living entities are superior to matter. But actually, the spiritual energy is Krishna's internal energy. That's his abode, his pastimes, his paraphernalia. They're all manifestations of his internal energy, spiritual energy. There's nothing material or contaminated about them. And there's nothing forgetful about them, because everything there in the spiritual sky is fully conscious of Krishna. But here in the material world, the inferior energy, the external energy, everything is forgetful of Krishna here. But the jivas, they're in between, they're marginal. So when we talk about marginal, if you think of, you've been down to the seaside, yeah? Everybody's been into the seaside. So you see there's the land and then there's the sea. So, but the margin is the beach. So the beach is sometimes uncovered and sometimes it's covered. So it's the margin between the land and the sea. In the same idea that the living entities are called marginal energy, although we're superior to matter, sometimes we're uncovered in our real spiritual position, and sometimes we're covered by the material energy, just as the beach is sometimes covered by the ocean and sometimes it's uncovered and remains part of the land. So it's important to understand these terms. So the material energy is inferior. It's called the external energy also. And it's inferior because it's basically dull matter. Whereas the spiritual world is fully conscious. The spiritual energy is fully conscious. And the jivas, we're marginal because we can be relatively unconscious, or we can actually come back to our pure spiritual consciousness. So when we're engaging in service in the material sense, then we're covered by the material energy and we identify with matter, with the mind and body and the senses and the material world. We think in terms of I, me, and mine, like that. But actually, when we become situated in our real consciousness, we identify ourselves as parts and parcels of Krishna. So as Krishna is purely spiritual, eternal and full of bliss and full of knowledge, so by nature, we're also eternally spiritual. But because Krishna is great, he never becomes covered by the external energy. But because we're very tiny, we have the tendency to become covered by the external energy and fall into forgetfulness and to consequently misidentifying ourselves with the material world. I'm Indian, I'm American, I'm English, I'm a Hindu, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Christian, I'm a Buddhist, I'm a train driver, and I'm an IT specialist, I'm a man or a woman, I'm a slug, I'm a bird, whatever. All these are different designations which are covering our real identity. So the whole principle is to become uncovered and back in our spiritual nature. So here Prabhupada's explaining when the living entities engage in activities under the internal spiritual energy, i.e. devotional service, their activities are called Krishna conscious. And that means those who are great souls or great devotees do not act under the spell of material energy. Just like you may have seen some movies or cartoons where some witch casts a spell and you're frozen, or you see a hypnotist, for example. A hypnotist can tell someone, he can hypnotize someone by his magic spell practically, and make them think, okay, now you're a dog. And so you start acting like a dog under the spell of under the magical spell. So we're all under the spell of Maya and thinking we're this and that and the other, forgetful of our relationship with Krishna. But the great devotees, they're not under the spell of Maya. They're actually fully taking shelter of Krishna. And this way they're under the protection. Krishna says that my devotees, they're under their Mahatmanas Tumam Partha Daivim Prakritim Ashrita. The living entities, my devotees, they're always under the protection of the divine energy, not the inferior energy. So any activities done in devotional service or in Krishna consciousness are directly under the control of spiritual energy. So being under the control of us is inevitable because we're tiny, we're controlled living beings, but we can choose to be controlled by the material energy and forced to serve the material energy by forgetting Krishna, or we can revive our natural consciousness of Krishna and be under the control of the divine energy and be always engaged in loving service to Krishna. So here, Prabhupada's explaining, in other words, energy is a sort of strength, and this strength can be spiritualized by the mercy of the bona fide spiritual master and Krishna. By the strength of the bona fide spiritual master and Krishna, by their mercy, we can actually become strongly situated in loving service to Krishna and become happy. How about that? Everybody like to become happy?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so this nectar of devotion, it's called the nectar of devotion because it's the most blissful thing. It's the sweetest thing. And as we learn the science of devotional service, then naturally we become very joyful. Brahmabhuta prasanatma nasochati nakankshati. We're not subject to all the hankering and lamenting of material existence. We're just happy serving Krishna. So any questions or things that needs some more explaining?
Prabhu, you got it, yeah. Sachin, Prabhu, what we call this external and internal and marginal energy in Hindi? Prabhuji,
Yes.
do you know?
Yes, Prabhu, I'll tell you. Okay. So
One
it's
is Tathast, right?
Bahiranga,
Bahiranga, yes.
Ranga or Tatastara.
Yeah, okay. I was just thinking that. So, Prabhuji, like I was just asking in Hindi what we call it. So, external is Bahiranga Shakti and internal is Antaranga, right, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji.
And the marginal is the Tathast. Sir.
Just how.
Okay. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for explaining this very nicely. Yeah. So,
Okay.
we
Yes,
understood,
because
Prabhu,
Prabhupada uses these terms, the inferior external energy and the superior internal energy, so that we can actually relate to them, because the Sanskrit names may be in the beginning hard to relate to, understand what they actually mean. So therefore, this is actually explaining the subject matter so that we can get to grips with it.
Yes. And even we call Para and Apara Shakti as well, right? Para and Apara.
Yes. Krishna describes them as such. Aparayam mitastranyam. Besides this inferior energy of mine, there are all living entities who are the jivas.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Apara is then the marginal one, isn't it, Prabhu?
Yes, the living entities are superior to matter. Just like, let me give you an example. Supposing you're at work and there's a fire in the building. So what do? Do you save all the machines and the computers first of all, or do you save the people?
Save the people, yeah.
Yes, because they're more important than the dull material energy.
Yeah.
So the jivas, they're superior to matter, but they can be covered by matter because they're tiny, or they can be under the shelter of the internal energy. So therefore they're called marginal. They're in between.
Sure.
The margin, just like the beach is the margin between the land and the sea. Do you get that, Gaurangi? Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's okay, huh? Good. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So who wants to read next?
Prabhuji,
Prabhuji, can I read?
Yes, why not?
In the Chaitanya Charitamrita by Krishna Kaviraj Goswami, Lord Chaitanya states that it is a fortunate person who comes in contact with a bona fide spiritual master by the grace of Krishna. One who is serious about spiritual life is given by Krishna the intelligence to come in contact with a bona fide spiritual master. And then by the grace of the spiritual master, one becomes advanced in Krishna consciousness. In this way, the whole jurisdiction of Krishna consciousness is directly under the spiritual energy, Krishna and the spiritual master. This has nothing to do with the material world. When we speak of Krishna, we refer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Along with many expansions, he is expanded by the planetary parts and parcels.
Yeah, plenary or plenary, yes.
Plenary.
Means the full parts and parcels.
Plenary parts and parcels. His differential parts and parcels. Differentiated parts and parcels are different energies. Krishna, in other words, mean everything and includes everything. Generally, however, we should understand Krishna to mean Krishna and his personal expansions. Krishna expands himself as Baldev, Sankarshan, Vasudev, Anuruddha, Pradyumna, Ram, Nrsimha, Varaha, as well as many other incarnations and innumerable Vishnu expansions. These are described in the Srimad Bhagavatam to be numerous as the uncountable waves. So Krishna includes all such expansions as well as his pure devotees. In the Brahma Samhita, it's stated that Krishna's expansions are all complete in identity.
No, complete in eternity.
Complete in eternity, blissfulness, and cognizance.
Cognizance, yes. So cognizance means knowledge, understanding. So if something is numerous, that means there are so many, you can't necessarily count them. And here, let's see if we can explain a few points. A bona fide spiritual master is someone who's following in the line of previous spiritual masters in an unbroken chain and is following their guidance and their instructions. So, and they are able to represent Krishna, just like suppose some representative comes from some company to sell you some encyclopedias at your front door. He's a representative of the encyclopedia company, and his duty is to present as it is the encyclopedia, not to add in his own versions or take out the bits he doesn't like. He has to present it as it is. Or the postman, for example. That's another nice example. The postman is the representative of the person who's sending you the letter. And the postman's job, is it his job to open up the mail and cross out the bits he doesn't want you to see, or to add his own comments onto that letter? His job is to present the mail without any change, without any adulteration. So that's a bona fide spiritual master. So, and the jurisdiction means basically everything is under the control of the spiritual master. That's their area, and no one can mess about with that. So Krishna and the spiritual master, they're under the spiritual energy, and this has nothing to do with the material world because they're representing Krishna. The spiritual master is directly the representative of Krishna. How? Because Krishna is in all of us' hearts, yes? You can see Krishna in your heart? No? We wish. But because we don't always listen to Krishna giving us guidance inside our hearts, Krishna comes externally as his representative, the spiritual master. Prabhupada explains, why do we need a spiritual master? Because the books and the super soul, they don't do this. But the spiritual master, his job is to pull us onto the right path. And therefore, it's very essential that we have a spiritual master. So here, Prabhupada also says, when we speak of Krishna, we refer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead along with his many expansions. So Krishna has lots of expansions. Krishna has his own plenary parts and parcels who are also fully Krishna, like the Narayan forms, the incarnations. They're also fully Krishna. But he also has little, so those are the big expansions, but there are also the separated expansions or differentiated expansions who are the jivas, you and me. We're also tiny expansions of Krishna. But we're separated from Krishna. But the other expansions, the big expansions, the incarnations and the avatars, they're actually all Krishna himself. So they're integrated expansions, but we're separated expansions. We have freedom to choose, but it's important to know that just as the small expansions, their duty is to serve Krishna, even the big expansions, the incarnations and the Vishnu forms and all the other expansions, they also are all lovingly engaged in the service of Krishna. How about that? So everything, even the material energy, is also engaged in the service of Krishna. So how do we understand that? It's just like in the state, you have all the different departments to manage the state. Like you've got the electricity department, you've got the water department, you've got the education department, you've got the road department, you've got the hospitals department, you've got the financial department, the treasury, but you've also got another department, which is the prison department. And they're all working under the control of the Supreme Lord, and they all have their different functions. So what's the role of the prison department?
Is to punish whoever not following the rules.
Yes. And ultimately to correct.
Yes, to rectify
those
correct.
living
Yes.
members of society who have gone astray. That's the role. So the devotees and the material energy are all on the same team. So the devotees, they try to bring people back to the loving control of Krishna. And Maya, she says, okay, you don't want to serve Krishna? Then I'll pinch you. And I'll pinch you again. And now you still don't want to serve Krishna? Okay, then I'll pinch you and pinch you some more.
Yeah.
You still don't want to serve Krishna? Okay, I'm going to keep on pinching you.
Mm-hmm.
So the devotees and Maya are actually all on the same team, but the approach is different. Maya's approach is to chastise us, but the devotee's approach is to try to help us understand about Krishna and to bring us back into connection with Krishna, even though it's just like, suppose in a lunatic asylum. You know what is a lunatic asylum? Well, basically, it's got the material world. It's a big lunatic asylum. But generally, in the lunatic asylum, very often the lunatics, they think it's the doctors who are mad. But the doctors are trying their very best to bring everyone back to some sane understanding of life so they can live properly in the rest of society. And that's
Yeah.
why they're locked up in the loony bin. So here we all are in the lunatic asylum, and the acharyas and the incarnations and Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam are trying to bring us back to our senses. And generally, people think, I don't need all this crazy Hare Krishna stuff. You know, I'm happy serving my cat and my dog and my budgie and my family and my senses and my bank balance and eating and drinking and be merry until I die.
Yeah.
This is insanity.
In same thing happened, probably like today, like my brother was telling that one of the army man from India, like a soldier, yeah. So he
Yeah.
had joined somehow the Krishna ISKCON group actually, and then
Okay.
he was telling that this Krishna consciousness, this is like nothing. It doesn't make any sense. If someone comes from Bakund or Golok and tells me that life is there, and then only I will understand this thing. Otherwise, like, country is the only thing, you have to serve the country, there is nothing else. He was telling like that.
Yeah. So this is called it's a 4-letter word.
Prabhuji, at least he understanding, he has knowledge that there is a Vaikunt, and there is some people are there in Vaikunt. At least he knows and he believe on that one. Vaikunt, at least he believes.
So if
Vaikunt.
someone comes from there and then informs us that those things are there, then only he'll believe. Otherwise, he'll not believe on anything.
Yeah, but they're doing that already. The acharyas are coming. Krishna is coming personally and speaking and explaining about Vaikuntha. But yet we think, no, they're just crazy. It's just a myth. It's just some story. Just some other human being who's defective like me. So this is the problem. Yes, Gorangi.
But why are they thinking they're not true? Prabhupada personally came from Vaikuntha. He also told everyone, but still they don't understand. Yeah, they're still saying that only if they come again, then we'll listen. Already
Yeah.
one has came.
Exactly. They can't appreciate that because actually without getting good intelligence, then they can't understand these things. They can't understand that the mercy is already here. Krishna is coming, and Krishna is here in the form of his holy name, and he's easily approachable. But generally, people don't understand what is Krishna's name, that it is Krishna himself. And this Krishna Katha, these words of Krishna, they're also Krishna. Krishna is speaking his personal instructions. He's giving us the chance to understand, but still, because we don't have intelligence, because we're called mudhas. Mudha means a very foolish person, like the ass. You know what the ass does? He likes to speak poetry. And he thinks his poetry is very, very nice. But everybody else thinks he's just making such a terrible din. So the foolish ass, people are like that. They're speaking so much mundane nonsense. And they're braying like the ass. And they're thinking they're very intelligent and very advanced. But they don't understand the basics. That actually we're not these bodies, we're spirit souls, we're eternal servants of Krishna. So therefore they're very foolish. So, okay, so some comments. I think I've spoken quite enough.
That was really good, Prabhu. Like it really made sense to us and we could understand the context. Yeah. So thank you so much, Prabhu.
Okay, you're most welcome. So I'm sorry I came in so late in the party, but anyway, so what would you like to do? Would you like to read a little more? Or have you got any questions or comments?
Prabhuji, when you plan to come to Swindon again, Prabhu?
I'm waiting for Krishna to tell me when he wants me to come, because I don't know. I don't have any plans myself. I'd like to come, but I'm leaving it up to Krishna, whatever he wants me to do. And I'll try and do what he wants me to do. So, but at the meantime, at least we can connect in this way. And this is very nice. So Gaurangi, have you got any questions?
Any questions, Prisha? Please ask. Brinda, Radhika, you have any questions?
Walk up to Mount Everest and start climbing?
No, we need a spiritual master.
You have a lot of preparation to do before you initiate or begin the climb. I can hear the recording. So sorry, what were you saying, Gaurangi? To do. You have to learn the techniques. Gaurangi, what were you saying, Prabhu?
Sorry, Prabhuji.
Prisha, you are asking something, right? Go on.
No.
Nothing? No, Prabhuji.
Okay, is it making sense?
Yes.
There's a little bit of maybe in your voice.
No, Prabhuji, you're explaining it very nicely. You're explaining it like how I like kid way. Very nice.
Okay, well, I'm just a kid myself, so but I don't want to grow up, really. It's pretty boring being a grown-up. So better to be young and happy and serving Krishna very nicely. Haribol!
That's what I also want to be. I want to be young. Ishka, Vidya, she says that she wants to grow up and be a big girl.
You want to grow and be a big girl? A big girl or big devotee? What do you want to be? Devotee or girl? Big sister. She wants to be like sister.
Okay, well, that's because your sister is a very nice example of a devotee. So, very good. Yes. So, Radhika, I've got a question for you. How are you getting on with learning the translation of the verses that you've learned previously?
Yes. I'm writing them in my notebook where I write my shlokas in it, and I'm going to try to memorize the translation. Yesterday I wrote 15.1 and 15.2, and then I'm going to start memorizing the translation soon.
Very good, very good.
So
And then
she's working on it, Prabhu, and even in the children's shloka class now, I'm focusing on translation as well, and little bit per part, which I can explain to children,
Great. So, very nice. Thank you very much. Because the idea is that when you quote a verse, you should be able to use it to help someone understand what Krishna is saying.
Yeah.
Like Prabhupada, he would explain about how the material energy is working under Krishna's direction, and he would quote the verse, Maya yakshena prakriti suyate satcharacharam. This material nature, this divine energy of mine, is working under my direction. So in that way, when people understand that actually all the energies are run by Krishna, they're all working under his control, and then the Sanskrit verse can be used to back it up to show that it's actually an authoritative statement. It's not just something you're saying off the top of your head. This is what we learn from Shastra. So this is very good. So thank you. I really appreciate that you're trying to develop.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So, we all are learning from you, Prabhu. It's really, really good to learn from you and understand these things. Because we have just started learning, isn't we? Are very beginners actually. We don't know anything at the moment.
You know more than you let on, actually. But anyway, It's okay. But the thing is that by learning and understanding and hearing, we also learn to explain to others.
Yeah, yeah.
And therefore, Prabhupada, he would always give us so many examples to try to help us understand things very nicely. Like he gave that example about the beach being the margin between the land and the sea. And in the same way, we're marginal. We're between the external material energy when we're covered by it, but in our natural state, we're uncovered and in the spiritual world.
Yes, Prabhu. I like both examples, this beach example and that example where you explained that when there is fire, then which one will you save first, like human or machines? Yeah.
Yes.
Because humans are the superior energy, actually. So
Exactly. Yes. Yes. So let's see what we can do. Let's turn up the heat.
yes, Prabhu. Sure, Prabhu.
Okay. So, anyways, it's now 10 to 7. Should we continue or should we stop at this point?
Prabhuji, I think let's. I mean, what do you recommend, Prabhu?
Myself, I'm a little tired. I'd like to take some rest if I can,
Yes,
because I've
Prabhu.
been up since about 2 this morning,
Yes,
and I've
sure,
been
Prabhu.
driving around all day
Yeah.
and trying to get my car mended. So
Yes, sure,
it's
Prabhu.
been a long,
Definitely.
busy day.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but I would like to say, please, you carry on with this nice seva, and let's try to continue these nice classes. I'm sorry I haven't been around for any song classes this week, but is everybody back to school again now?
Yes, Prabhu. Schools have started actually. Yeah.
Okay.
Prabhuji, which is the next bhajan that you are going to teach to children, Prabhu? So far, like you have taught them first bhajan, which was that, Radhika?
No.
Radha Krishna, Bol Bol Bolo Re Savai, that one.
Okay.
And so Radhika had sung that one, Prabhu, actually, like before you came. Yeah, so she was singing, yeah, on the call, actually.
Okay,
one.
good. And
And
what
the second,
about Gaurangi? How is she doing learning these things? Are
I
you
know a
learning?
bit. I know a little bit like Radha Krishna bol 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 lore so bhai e sikha diya sabda diya peche niche gor nitai. I know a little bit.
Ishika, you also
Good.
learned it, right? Come here, come.
I know a little bit, but I'll need to see a little bit more.
Prabhuji,
Okay.
in the temple, like last week, like all the children, they sung this bhajan actually in the temple, yeah.
Very nice.
So thank you so much, Prabhu. Everyone liked it. Brinda, do you want to say Radha Krishna Bol? Can you sing?
Radha Krishna bol 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 re sabai ishika diya shatna diya peche niche gornatai.
Very good.
She knows
Very
still
good.
this one. Very good, Prabhu.
You're
Well
all
said.
developing very nicely. So you youngsters, you need to teach the grown-ups how to sing these things. Is that all right?
Yes, indeed, Prabhu. Yeah, that's the idea. Once they learn it, they can sing in temple and like they can preach nicely actually. Yeah.
Okay. I'll tell you one more story if I may.
Yes, please,
Seeing,
Prabhu. Please.
seeing these scissors in Brinda's hand. So
Prabhu is telling a story.
there's this nice story. You know how people do the CISPAT brick? They do scissors cut paper, and paper wraps stone, and
Yeah,
stone blunts scissors.
shoot.
You know that game?
Rock, yes.
So 1, 2, 3.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Yes.
So,
So
rock, paper,
like
scissors, shoot.
that, or like that. So anyway, there was an argument going on between two gentlemen, and the argument was that something had come in through the wind, and one of them was saying it was somebody cut it with a knife, And the other person was arguing, saying, no, 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 it was cut with scissors. And so the argument was going on between these two gentlemen. And they were crossing the river, and the river was going very deep, and the argument was getting so intense. And one was saying, knife, knife. And the other was saying, no, scissors, scissors. And gradually they were getting submerged in the water, and still the hands were coming up out of the water, scissors, scissors, and they're drowning. Oh, knife, knife. So in this way, people are stubbornly arguing from their perspective, even though they're going to their death. And instead of actually learning, they remain very stubborn in the material world. So we have to try to induce people, in spite of their stubbornness, to please just chant Hare Krishna, or even if they can't chant, at least let them hear Hare Krishna. And this way we can trick them into connecting to Krishna, because unless they stick their fingers in their ears, and even they stick their fingers in their ears, then we can chant louder, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. And in this way engage people in spite of their stubborn refusal to engage in some service to Krishna by hearing about Krishna, or trying to understand Krishna, or chanting Krishna's name. So we can give these stubborn people something wonderful by this Sankirtan Yajna, by distributing these books, like Sachin Prabhu you're doing, and you've all been doing to these care homes. This is very nice activity. We're trying to help people overcome their unfortunate stubbornness and refusal to accept Krishna by showing them these beautiful books and letting them hear something beautiful about Krishna.
Yes. Prabhuji, we are during New Year time, like Christmas time and New Year time, 2 days, like we had put, like we had gone for book distribution in town center, and then we distributed around like, how many, like Prabhu? 20 plus 17, right? Around.
Yeah,
30
30 plus 30, 30 book, 30 plus.
37
Yeah.
books.
37 books, around 37 books we distributed, Prabhu, yeah.
Very
So-
good. Very good. Yeah, this is very nice. So
And
this,
few people were really, Prabhu, like they were saying that, oh, I was just waiting for this book. Thank you so much that Krishna has given me this book. One lady said, Prabhu, that, when my friend was pregnant, then I had gifted this book to her, and now I am pregnant, and Krishna is giving back this book to me. Krishna is very kind. No, so she told like that. And one more
okay,
man, man came, and he said that I have been searching this book since, very long. Thank you so much. So people were like that. Yeah. So
very good. So just see, Prabhupada, he said like this, there are devotees on every street corner. We just have to go and find them. Hare Krishna.
yes, Prabhu, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, with that, I will bid you adieu and hope you have a very wonderful night and sweet dreams.
Thank you
And
so much, Prabhu. Yeah.
lots of nice chanting like Vrinda is doing with her beats. So excellent. Thank you all very much indeed. And see you again soon, I hope.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time, Prabhu, and your teaching. Yeah, we are so fortunate to learn from you, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
There's so much for all of us to learn, and I'm learning at the same time as we're discussing with each other. So thank you all very much. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Bol.
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
So I will simply say, Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. By the way, one last thing before I go. People are asking me, because I tell them about little Narayan's little boy leading kirtan and playing madanga. and they're saying, can we see a video of this?
Okay, Prabhuji, I'll share with you first. So many videos. I have so many videos. So I'll share you.
share screen karo na.
That would be very nice. Thank you very much. Because you know that when some good teaching comes from the mouths of little children, people take it very seriously.
Yes, Prabhu.
And it's very powerful. Okay. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll see you again soon. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu.
Hare
Srila
Krishna.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Take